been some iconic mashups throughout history. Peanut butter and jelly, Final Fantasy and Disney, burgers and fries. And now we have Senran Kagura and Neptunia. But how does it hold up? Let's find out. I'm Adam Scott, and this is Neptunia X Senran Kagura Ninja Wars. As if the name wasn't obvious enough, Neptunia X Senran Kagura Ninja Wars combines these two franchises into a blender, making a simple, colorful, and cheeky hack-and-slash RPG smoothie. Whether you're a fan of one or both, you'll appreciate the crossover and the characters available. Though it's not the most inspiring narrative, the game still provides entertaining gameplay, silly dialogue, and a touch of fan service. So how did they approach bringing these two franchises together with all of their characters and storylines, even if they've never been particularly deep? Well, let's start with the story. In the world of game ninjastry, rival clans of ninjas have been battling for generations, led by characters from Neptunia and Senran Kagura series. When a new mechanized army threatens the lives of both of these nations, they must settle their differences and join forces to take down the bots. This story is clearly little more than an excuse to bring these two franchises together, and is pretty inconsequential in the grand scheme, which is fine considering it's probably less important to the series fans than the interactions between their favorite characters. The typical Neptunia banter is in full swing here, with plenty of references to what happens in other games. The infighting is as constant as ever, so prepare yourself for the typical chest size shaming the genre is known for. The main plot is only about 15 to 20 hours long, and with some light side missions for increased experience and money, the game is a bit on the short side even for a spin-off. But with these fun characters going on a simple journey to save the world, it's easy to mindlessly play this for hours. Since the characters are the key draw for the game, let's see what we're working with. There are 10 playable ninjas in all. We have our 4 main goddesses from Heartland in the Neptunia universe: Neptune, Noir, Blanc, and Vert. And 4 characters from Marveland of the Senran Kagura universe: Asuka, Hamura, Yumi, and Miyabi, with 2 brand new playable characters exclusive to this game: the feline ninja Yuki and the amnesiac ninja Go the Crow. These new characters add some freshness and mix well with the party's antics. Depending on your favorites, you'll either think this lineup is fantastic or a disappointment. Overall, I thought it was solid. With the number of playable characters, there already isn't a lot of time or focus dedicated to any individuals. On the one hand, it was nice to see some familiar characters, but on the other, there wasn't as much involvement between them as I would have liked. Even though this is a crossover, it felt more like a Neptunia game featuring Senran Kagura characters. And that takes us to the overall presentation and performance. It's undeniably gorgeous. The Neptunia game got to enjoy some period piece threads, and I can say with absolute delight, they nailed the designs. The semi-period appropriate costumes are a sight to behold, and show a lot of loving care for the characters and the world they've created. There are a lot of cutscenes that deliver story sequences or just character interactions that are mostly still images with text. The high quality artwork is great, bursting with character and filled with interesting details. That being said, it would have been nice if there were more animations during these sequences. Now, one thing of note is that all of the voice acting is in Japanese without any English options. This may bother some people, but admittedly, I didn't really mind. One thing to be aware of is the Senran Kagura games don't use English voiceover, although the anime does, with varying degrees of success.
You know, because you're all losers.
Tell me what the rules are right now! Hebijo will wipe the floor with you sorry renegade ninjas!
One criticism is the mouth movements don't match up with the voiceover. That's right, no lip syncing at all, which makes it look goofy as hell just seeing their mouths flapping. Since I was too busy reading the subtitles, it wasn't all that distracting. The music, on the other hand, is just great, making solid use of every Japanese instrument you can think of, and then some. It's actually shocking and interesting that one of the spin-off games of all things managed to nail the music so soundly, but no complaints here. You'll travel to a number of diverse environments that all look different but are fairly similar in their designs. While colorful, they're simple without a lot of details, which does ensure performance was rock solid. I didn't notice any performance issues at all, which is essential for a fast-paced hack-and-slash game like this. However, loading was painful at times, especially when navigating in and out of different stages or menus. You'll travel to a number of different stages exploring the environments for treasure, sometimes in hidden areas, and fighting hordes of enemies you run into. Often you'll be blocked from moving forward until you've beaten all of the baddies or complete some objective. Rinse and repeat. To save the world from the mighty Steel Legion, you'll have to slash your way through all different enemy types. The stages are littered with a wide variety from cats to robots and skeletons that don't seem to have any rhyme or reason as to how they're grouped together here. It doesn't really matter since they're mostly fodder anyway.
Life is pointless and nothing matters, and I'm always tired.
At the end of the stages, there's usually a hulking boss that requires you to learn their patterns, avoid their overly powerful attacks, and time your attacks perfectly. The combat, while not too difficult, was actually more challenging than I expected, especially during the boss battles. Overall, it's a fairly standard hack and slash affair, with plenty of special moves, evasive dashing, and projectiles to use. You can take 2 characters on each mission, each have 4 unique flashy ninja arts to use. From whirlwind AoE attacks to long-range magic, these powerful arts are really fun to use. Alongside these special attacks, you'll also need to take advantage of the Furin Kazan drive to make it through each stage. By activating these drives, you'll activate a bunch of interesting effects you can take advantage of. For example, the Fire Drive will see you dealing double damage, while taking double damage too, while Forest Drive slowly regenerates health and also gets rid of status effects. There's a limit to how many times per mission you can use these, but stages are so short I never found myself running out. You can instantly switch between your 2 characters, which is a great way to manage your stamina or to save a character on the brink of death. Your equipment and spirit gems enhance the combat. Interestingly enough, there's no way to straight up upgrade your main equipment. You can only upgrade your shuriken and kunai, which later versions of these get some cool extra effects like poison or piercing. You can also get these charms that act like perks to equip into 2 slots per character. Okay, let's talk about spirit gems. This is a really unique and powerful system to upgrade each of your characters. You can beef up your HP, increase power against specific enemy types, or even boost the amount of cash you find. These handy jewels can be equipped to each character on a big grid, with bonuses given for how you group them together. As you level up your character and explore, the spirit gems you acquire will be more powerful, and you'll open up even more slots on the grid. This can really start beefing up your stats to cover weak spots if you approach this system with a little focus. This game is very good at giving you the tools to succeed and grants a rather lenient level of customization for your playstyle. If figuring out the right setup isn't your style, there's an option to autofill it too. Assuming you don't want to be underleveled, you'll probably want to complete a few requests between the missions. These will have you revisiting previous stages to complete smaller objectives like killing a certain number of enemies or collecting various items. I won't pretend these are anything special, but they're an enjoyable enough way to keep up with the curve. Outside of combat and powering up your ninjas, there's plenty to keep you busy. There are popular characters from each of the series to chat with in town, shops to spend hard-earned cash in, and of course, peaches and cream meditation. This goofy minigame sees you balancing one of your characters on a giant peach by tilting, with buffs and items rewarded for performance. It's completely weird, but an excuse to show off some outfits on the girls. Which takes us to fan service, or lack thereof. Perhaps one of the most surprising aspects of the game is how little fan service there is considering the franchises. A few outfits are a touch more risque than the others, and there are a handful of scenes that take place in bathhouses, but I was expecting quite a bit more. Depending on the type of fan you are, this will either excite or disappoint you. The first few chapters were a little more fan servicey than the rest of the game, which made sense considering the plot thickens later on. I just wish there were fun items to unlock, like new outfits or something. I know I'm being picky, and the nature of the game doesn't really allow for accessorizing, which is a shame. Neptunia X Senran Kagura Ninja Wars is an enjoyable hack and slash romp with plenty of flashy moves, a decent roster of ninjas, and a story that serves as a lighthearted diversion. The character designs are some of the best I've seen for a spin-off, and it's a treat to see the Senran Kagura game interact with our favorite CPUs, with the same meta humor and gaming references that Neptunia is famous for. While it would have been nice to have more depth in the environments, options for character customization, and variety for objectives, you could do far worse in an action game. Alright, well there's Neptunia X Senran Kagura Ninja Wars. Have you played it? What do you think about it? And what are some other great game mashups? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. Now, if you want another beat 'em up that's totally crazy and unique, check out my review of Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.